Hello and welcome to this amazing platform. I am Shruti, your French trainer. In today's session, we are going to learn about articles. For example, definite articles and indefinite articles in French. So, let's get started. Now, first of all, we will try to understand what is indefinite article and we will see some of the examples. It says the indefinite article in French has three forms. The singular indefinite article, which is un, and the next one is une, the plural. The third one is they. So they corresponds to some. They means some. The plural they has to same form for both genders. I know that this text actually defines what is indefinite articles, but it sounds bit confusing and bit tricky. So let's try to understand it in simple words. So the indefinite articles are of three types. The first one is un, second is une, and this is they. So un means a or an, une means again a or n, and they means some. Now it is bit clear. Let's move further. We will try to understand more in detail about the indefinite article by this table. So it says that if your object is masculine singular, so you have to use un. If your object is feminine singular, so you have to use une. But if you are talking about, let's say, masculine plural or feminine plural, so you can use they. Again, let's move further. Now, indefinite article, it is very important. Alright, it says the indefinite article depends on two things. The first one is noun's gender, second one is number. Don't worry, we will study the noun's gender and noun's number in detail. Let's move further. So this is again very important. It says the indefinite article must used when the person's profession or religion is preceded by the qualifying word. You can either use qualifying word for adjective, or you can simply say adjective. Now let's try to understand this sentence of 4 lines with these two examples. Example number 1, example number 2. Il est un excellent professeur. It means he is an excellent professor. Now excellent is our qualifying word or adjective. So according to this line or this sentence, if we are talking about adjectives, so we have to use indefinite article. This one, elle est une excellente étudiante. It means she is an excellent student. Since excellent is your adjective, so you have to write indefinite article, that is une. Very good. Now, do you remember we were talking about these two important things? The first one is noun's gender and the second one is noun's number. Let's try to understand these two in detail. Noun's gender and noun's number. So, un garçon, it means a boy. If you are talking about boy which has masculine roots, so it is called your noun's gender. If you are talking about girl, for example, une fille, which is a girl. Alright, now fille is girl, it is feminine. She is feminine. So it is called nouns gender. Now let's look here the nouns number. Des garçons, it means boys or some boys. It means girls or some girls. Alright. So some boys, that is some boys. Now some is indicating your nouns number. That is, you are not talking about one boy, neither you are talking about two boys. So you are talking about maybe a group of boys, for example 5 boys or 8 boys. So this is indicating you, des garçons, that is nouns number. Now I think that it is clear to you. Let's move further. Here we have in both cases singular or plural. The indefinite article or indefinite articles refer to an unspecified person or thing. So this is your definition of, we can say this is your definition of indefinite article. Now this is again very important. It says omission of indefinite article, that is when or in which cases you don't have to use indefinite articles. Let's try to understand it. When referring to a person's profession or religion in French, the indefinite article is, you can see here, not used. So here are two different examples. Il est professeur, he is a professor. Can you see this difference in English and this difference in French? We haven't put any un, that is un, because when we talk about profession or religion, we don't put any article, that is any indefinite article. Again, il est étudiante, so it means she is a student, so you are not allowed to put any un. You will not put, okay? So again, let's move further. Now, in the beginning of this session, we learnt about indefinite article, un, un, they. Now we will learn about the definite article. So it says, number 1, there are 4 forms of definite article in French. Number 2, the singular definite articles, le, la, l apostrophe and les. So these are your 4 forms. Okay, la, le, le and l apostrophe. These are your 4 forms of definite articles. Alright. Now this is all of which correspond to the. So your le, la or la, le, le, l apostrophe means the. Okay. So let me write it down here. Le, la, l apostrophe, le. It means the in French. I hope this is clear to you. Here, this table actually explains you how to use the definite article. So if you are talking about masculine singular, if your object is masculine singular, so you have to use le. But if your object is plural or masculine plural, so you have to use le. Again, if your object is feminine and singular, you will use la. If your object is feminine plus plural, so you have to use le. But if your object starts with vowel or h mute, so at that time you have to actually write l apostrophe. But in certain cases, if your object starts with vowel or h mute, but it is plural, so you will use les. Now let's try to understand this with example. If I say le livre, it means the book. We all know livre means the book. Now this livre is your masculine and singular. That's why I have written here le. But if I write la, maison, which means the house. Alright. So maison has feminine roots. So what do you have to do here? And we are talking about only one house. So we have to put la. Now if we are talking about plural, so let's look at with examples. Les maisons. Again, les maisons means the houses. Alright. Now here we are talking about more than one house, maybe two, maybe three, or maybe four. So since your maison is feminine but it is plural, so at that time you just have to blindly, I would say blindly, put les. Now let's look at the third scenario, which is before vowel or H mute. For example, this one. L'ami means the friend. Alright. Okay. Now A is your vowel and it is beginning with, vowel. So that's why you cannot write l'ami. It is wrong because two vowels E and A cannot sit together. That's why what we have done here, we have contracted our L into L apostrophe. I think that it is clear. Let's move further. Now it says definite article depends on three things. First, noun's gender. Second, noun's number. And the third is noun's first letter. Don't worry, we will learn all these three criteria in detail. But now let's move further. Singular forms and plural forms. Okay, let's keep it as this, nouns gender. So we will write ng and here we will write nn, that is nouns number. So this garçon means boy and la fille means girl. Since garçon is masculine, so it is indicating your noun's gender. Fille is your girl, it is indicating your noun's gender. Now, les garçons, les filles, it is indicating you noun's number. Why? Because we are talking about boys. We are not talking about one boy. We are talking about boys. Maybe 2 boys, 3 boys or 8 boys. We are talking about the girls. Maybe 2 girls, 3 girls or 4 girls. So this is how this indicates your noun's number. Okay, let's move further. Remember, few seconds back we learnt about this noun's first letter. So let's try to understand this in detail. So here we come with the details. The noun plus vowel or H mute. Okay, it says the definite articles, that is l or la, contract to L apostrophe, that I just explained you few seconds back. Either masculine or feminine. When noun starts with a vowel or mute H or H mute. If the noun, here you can see masculine or feminine, is plural, you have to use les. Alright, let's move further and try to understand it in detail. It says noun starting with a vowel. So, lami, it is L-A-M-I. Since it is starting with vowel, so you will contract it and you will write L apostrophe A-M-I. This is again lami, L apostrophe A-M-I-E. You are contracting here and you are writing L apostrophe because it is beginning with, you can see, vowel. That is A-E-I-O-U. Alright? Okay. Now, lami also means friend. Lami also means friend. But this is your masculine friend. This is your feminine friend. Now, when you want to say that friends, maybe 2 friends, maybe 3 friends. So, at that time, you cannot write like this. No, it is totally wrong. So, you have to write les amis, the friends. Les amis, the friends. Now, let's jump here and let's look here nouns starting with H mute. So, l'homme, any word, anything is beginning with H or H mute, you have to contract your article and you have to write L apostrophe, that is l'homme, the masculine, the man. L'histoire, that is, l'histoire has feminine roots, so you have to write L apostrophe histoire, that is history. But if you want to say the men, right, in plural, so you will say les hommes, or if you want to say the histories, so you will say les histoires. Amazing. Let's move ahead. It is very, very important. You should learn it. It says there are some exceptions where there are no contraction. Okay. So what you have to do, if you are getting some contractions, or for example if you are getting some exceptions, so at that time you cannot contract. Okay, so you have to learn them, you have to memorize them. The best way to remember which ones allow contraction and which do not is to learn the words themselves. Let us look here some of the exceptions that you have to only learn. So l'heure, you have to learn it, that is, you can see here it is time. L'horaire, the timetable. L'hôtel, the hotel. L'hypothèse, hypothesis. Now let's see some more exceptions. Exceptions. La honte, it is the shame. I know, like you can see here H is beginning with, we all know, H mute, but it is exception. So you have to write la honte here, la Hollande, Holland, le hasard, coincidence or coincidence. So le hasard also means by chance. I hope that this exception is bit clear to you. Now we have what is, or the meaning of definite article. It is very simple, very easy, like a walk in the park. So it is use definite articles to indicate a specific noun. It's very clear. Now we have learnt about definite articles and indefinite articles. So here we come across with this question. It says complete the table with indefinite articles for each word. Now what you have to do here, you can see a list of definite articles, right? You can see la fille, le garçon, l'ami, les enfants. Now you have to convert them. You have to write into indefinite article, right? So you have to write into indefinite article. So please pause the video for 5 minutes or for 10 minutes and please complete this table. That was all for today. I would say merci beaucoup.